I'm Ian Lauer, and with us today is Tad the Diet Coach. Welcome.
Welcome, thank you.
If you've watched other episodes, you know that Tad's been with us for quite a while, and we're going to bring you a great topic today, and you're going to learn a lot here in the Diner. The topic we want to discuss today is carb sensitivity. Now, competitors oftentimes run into issues post-contest, and they'll blame it on carb sensitivity. What's your take on carb sensitivity?
Well, there is a real phenomenon with carb sensitivity when you go through long stretches of a diet where you are progressively restricting carbs. Then there is this your body becomes more sensitive to carbs when you take in, especially fast-acting carbs, like carbs like that come from processed sugars and breads and cereals and things like that. Though then your body tends to over-respond with insulin, and of course, if you haven't had much carbs to begin with, then of course you get the traditional rebound after shows that's more exaggerated for the first couple of weeks until your body settles down and all the enzyme levels start to come down and all your body starts to become less sensitive. But it is a real phenomenon and can last for several weeks.
Now, do you think that this is partially because of the way people tend to overindulge post-contest?
Definitely, there's competitors after contests that can overindulge, and it could definitely be something that can exacerbate any kind of carb sensitivity or any kind of rebound after a show. So that's definitely a factor. It's not necessarily the only factor, I don't think. Everyone's a little different, and people tend to, and a lot of it has to do with the length of time you diet. So the more stress you put on your system, it can have an impact on all these different levels, which sort of leads us to many of the factors that sort of lead down the road to metabolic damage. Things like adrenal fatigue or adrenal failure, too much stimulants. All these things factor in. So the more intense that you get in with some of these things in your diet, especially a long diet, then of course the more sensitive you're going to be, and of course there's larger ramifications. So hopefully your diet is, if you keep your diet healthy and you keep it along the right track, you take enough time to take the kind of body fat off you need to take off for a contest, you can minimize some of this. But inevitably, because of the way that you have to diet, it's going to be a factor. You're going to have to know that when the contest is over, the diet's not over yet.
Now, you mentioned metabolic damage, and that's something we'll have to tackle in a later episode. But that's definitely one of the hot topics right now. But back to the carb sensitivity, though, I do want to ask you, what would be some ways to help combat that coming out of contest prep?
Some of the ways that you can shorten some of this carb sensitivity issues are really to continue to know that your diet's really not really completely over for at least, because it usually takes for men 4 to 6 weeks, for women 6 to 8 weeks to oftentimes get their body sensitivity back down. So it just takes a little bit of forethought and a little bit of planning to be able to acclimate yourself back to normal eating and back to higher levels of carbs without having all the extra water retention and all the rebound. So it takes a little bit of a process, but it's definitely possible, and it's certainly something that you have to account for when you prepare for a show. And you should probably account for about 4 to 6 weeks to be able to accurately, slowly migrate your carbs from the low level of contest dieting at the end of your day to a higher level in stages, week by week.
All right, a great bit of advice there, Tad. Thanks for joining us here at the Diner.
Thanks for having me.
And to you at home, thanks for watching, and make sure you click back soon for more great episodes.